That bronze hardware isn't a styling choice. It's GMC telling Cadillac, in their own building, exactly where the Denali now stands. By the end of this video, you'll understand why GMC priced this truck above their own Cadillac and why that decision makes more strategic sense than it first appears. There's one material decision running through every surface you touch in this cabin that identifies precisely which competitor GMC was really targeting. It wasn't the Escalade. And is a $130,000 GMC worth more than a fully loaded Cadillac? My answer is going to challenge what you think you know about both of those badges. We're covering the interior, the powertrain, and the exterior, and the origin of the bronze apex brief. It reportedly didn't start with a product planner. It started with a single lost sale, and the buyer's reason explains every decision in these images. Here's the most significant decision in this vehicle, and it's not the portrait orientation touchscreen, and it's not the Bose audio integration. It's the bronze anodized hardware running through every driver contact point. The gear selector, cup holder surrounds, steering wheel spokes, vent bezels, door trim accents. Every surface you touch carries the same finish. This isn't decoration. Conventional American luxury SUV hardware uses chrome-plated ABS plastic, a component that transmits virtually no tactile information and degrades visibly under sustained UV exposure. The bronze anodized aluminum in this cabin carries actual mass and thermal conductivity. It feels cool under hand, doesn't flex under grip, and retains its surface integrity for the vehicle's full service life. European manufacturers have understood this for decades. This is the first American full-size SUV to commit to it at every contact point simultaneously. My opinion, this is the most coherent interior hardware strategy any full-size American SUV has executed because it doesn't read as a package upgrade, it reads as a design intention. Speculative tech number 1, bronze haptic feedback system. The knurled gear selector and primary console controls embed piezoelectric actuators within the anodized aluminum housing. Metal transmits haptic vibration with significantly higher fidelity than plastic. The gear confirmation pulse is felt cleanly through the fingertip rather than diffused across the whole hand. In a visually complex cabin, that tactile precision eliminates eye travel to the console during gear selection. The hardware makes the case for this cabin's intent. The seat engineering makes the case for its cost. That diamond quilted leather with ultimate embossed across the seat back isn't badge positioning. The quilting pattern requires each diamond junction to be sewn within millimeters of tolerance, or the perforations in the center insert misalign with the stitch geometry, and the whole panel reads as off. Holding that specification at production volume costs real money per seat. The fact that it appears in a Yukon, not a Cadillac, tells you the brief had no cost ceiling on this service. The large portrait orientation touchscreen is the interior's most functionally significant element. The vertical orientation prioritizes the natural eye sweep from instrument cluster downward, which is how infotainment menus are actually structured in use. The 16:9 landscape screens dominating the segment are a carryover from early automotive display design, borrowed from horizontal console space constraints. This is GMC correcting an industry habit, and it's the right correction. Speculative tech number 2, biometric seat memory system. A pressure mapping array embedded in the seat foam profiles the driver's physique after 3 drives: hip width, lumbar curvature, thigh distribution. The system then adjusts all 22 power functions, under-seat ventilation zones, and side bolster tension automatically on entry. For anyone who's shared a Yukon with a spouse who runs a completely different seating position, that distinction between saved geometry and saved fit is immediately apparent. Where I think they've left room to improve, the physical button row below the main touchscreen uses a spacing and labeling density that will require a learning period. At this specification level, a slightly wider button pitch would have completed the control hierarchy more convincingly without changing the ergonomics. The cabin makes the strongest interior argument GMC has ever assembled. The backstory behind why they built it this way is what makes the exterior section land differently. Here's what I can tell you now. The bronze Apex brief reportedly originated from a single lost sale, a buyer who crossed the street from a GMC dealership to a Cadillac dealership, not for features, but because the Cadillac badge felt more serious. That buyer's reason reportedly reached GMC's executive team. Everything you've seen in this cabin is their answer. The two-tone exterior, bronze metallic body against a black contrast roof, isn't a color package. It's a visual segmentation strategy. The black roof reduces the perceived height of the greenhouse, making the Yukon read as more planted and purposeful without altering the actual roofline geometry. The bronze body creates a visual mass distinction from every silver, white, and black full-size SUV competing in this space. At the front, the GMC grille's horizontal bar structure communicates frontal width, and on an SUV at this price point, width reads as authority, not bulk. The rear quad exhaust outlets aren't pure aesthetics on a V8. They reflect actual exhaust routing that reduces back pressure at high RPM. The rear diffuser manages underbody airflow exit, reducing rear axle lift at sustained highway speed on a high-roof vehicle. Overall length, approximately 204 inches in standard configuration on a 116-inch wheelbase. Ground clearance at approximately 8 inches. This exterior holds because the two-tone treatment, grille proportion, and quad exhaust form a visual language that requires no additional elements to read as premium, and that restraint is discipline. The exterior makes its argument. The powertrain has to back it up. The 6.2-liter Ecotec 3 V8 delivers 420 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque. Context: the Cadillac Escalade Sport produces the same 420 horsepower from the same engine family. So the differentiation here isn't peak output, it's calibration and chassis weight. The Yukon Denali runs lighter than the Escalade Sport's additional sound insulation and luxury equipment load, which returns a slightly more linear torque character through sustained highway passing maneuvers. For anyone who's driven both back-to-back, that difference is perceptible. Speculative tech number 3, predictive adaptive air suspension. Stereo forward cameras read road surface profiles up to 80 feet ahead, feeding a predictive algorithm that pre-positions the air springs on each corner before the wheel arrives at the variation. The distinction from reactive systems, the body never responds to the disturbance because the spring rate is already correct at wheel contact. On a 5,800-pound vehicle with a full passenger load, that's the difference between absorbed and transmitted. The powertrain and chassis case is complete. The financial picture is where the full bronze Apex argument either holds or doesn't. Now, here's what I actually think, and I'll be completely straight with you. That lost sale, the buyer who chose the Escalade for the badge, that's a perception gap, not a product gap. The bronze Apex is GMC's answer to that gap. Price it above the Cadillac, spec it beyond it, and give it an identity so specific that the badge question becomes secondary. Whether that strategy works depends entirely on the buyer in front of the desk. Pricing for the Yukon Denali Ultimate Bronze Apex is expected to land around $125,000 to $135,000 in full configuration. A comparably equipped Cadillac Escalade Sport Platinum sits around $105,000. The Lincoln Navigator Black Label runs approximately $109,000. So this truck costs more than both closest American luxury competitors. A bold statement, not an overreach. On depreciation, Yukon Denali holds residual value well because used demand is broad across trim levels. The 6.2 Ecotec 3 carries standard GM service intervals, meaningfully lower out of warranty than the Navigator's twin-turbo drivetrain. The ownership math is more favorable than the sticker suggests. Here's the call. If you've been cross-shopping a loaded Escalade and the Yukon felt like the more capable choice but the badge gave you pause, the Bronze Apex was built for that exact buyer. It closes the badge gap by eliminating it through price. If maximum third-row legroom is your primary criterion, the Escalade ESV retains a specific argument, but if material coherence, bronze hardware precision, and a V8 that experienced buyers will respect is driving the purchase, this is the most complete Yukon ever offered. At the open, I said bronze hardware was GMC telling Cadillac where the Denali now stands. Having walked the full picture, haptic aluminum, biometric seat mapping, predictive suspension, every decision in this truck traces to one buyer who walked across the street for a badge. I genuinely love your perspective on this, especially if you've owned a Yukon Denali or cross-shopped it against an Escalade. Drop your thoughts below. If you want to see the bronze apex go directly against the Navigator Black Label, that video is right here. If this kind of real, no-nonsense automotive analysis is what you're looking for, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.